Hey everyone. So, what we want to take some time out to do today is talk about our first week here off grid, talk about the learning curves that we've had. Um, for me, it hasn't been all that much of a learning curve, being that I was raised or kind of grew up on a farm. We always had wood burning stoves, learning to cook different ways. Just working differently. Even in the city, we had wood burning stoves, um, being power conscious because we didn't have a lot of money, things like that. I think Kimberly had more of a learning curve this week, being that she's never been outside of a city, always raised with the natural gas. We got electric stoves, all that nice stuff. Hot water tank, so you always had water. A pressurized system, because here we're spring fed, so there was a couple things we had to learn with that. So maybe she would like to start off the video with what she's learned this week, and I'll kind of elaborate or kind of point out a couple things that I've also noticed that were different from when I was on a farm. So, Kimberly, if you'd like to maybe start this off, that'd be great.
Yeah. So one of the biggest learning curves, I think, for me, the first and most immediately obvious one was the gas stove. And a gas stove is something that's run on propane rather than through an electric system, like you have when you are in an on-grid home or somewhere in the city. So with an off-grid home, we run our stove on propane. We have a gas stove here. One thing that I really like about the gas stove is that it actually heats up, I find, a lot faster, and it cools down a lot faster than an electric stove would. I find that there's more control over the actual temperature because you can adjust it inside as well as outside, which is the same as an electric stove, but I find that the temperature allows for a little bit more control over the stove itself. So that's a nice thing to have learned, and I guess it's a good thing because when you have a gas stove to cook on, you have to learn how to cook on a gas stove.
Yeah, not to mention the workout you get with the cast iron cookware.
So the cast iron cookware is something that that I have never even seen before, other than in videos or whatever. But there's something I've never handled before. And for someone like myself with small wrists and hands, it's been quite the quite the experience to lift that with one hand. And I've gotten used to it now, but it was definitely over the first couple days was a little like, whoa, that's heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this first week of the biggest one for me would be the spring or gravity fed water system that we have being fed by a natural spring. So the natural spring is up on a mountain and it's piped right into the house. Now the downside on that, there's no pump or anything. It's just a natural pressure up from the mountain. So we don't have a full 50 psi like you do in a house. And so we've noticed that our hot water on demand system doesn't kick in because it requires the 50 psi to heat up. And we have about, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 psi coming into the house just on its own. So we could add a booster pump. However, one of the tricks that the previous owners showed us when they came to take us through the place was you just turn on the faucet in the bathroom as you're taking the shower, just so you can have consistent hot water. That was one of the biggest things I've learned this week. I'm not sure what you've experienced with the water system around here.
Yeah, elaborating on that, it definitely is a lot, I find a lot harder, especially with the sink, to control the temperature of the hot water, or the consistency rather. We kind of have to turn the hot water on, let the pipes fill up with hot water, and then gradually adjust the temperature as it gets to be too hot to handle. But yeah, with the bathroom, turning the sink on and then turning the shower on to get the consistent stream of hot water. So hot showers are not a problem, but it's definitely not the same water pressure that you would find in the city where you have, the really nice like massage jets or whatever. It's not like that. Nowhere do we have a problem with the water pressure, but it's definitely not the same that I was used to anyways in the city.
Yeah, we didn't realize about turning the the tap right away, or we forgot about it. So the first day we're taking a shower, or the first time I'm taking a shower, I turn the water on, let it heat up, and then I just shut everything off. And because it's too hot, now I'm trying to adjust it. Next thing you know, you're in ice cold water. But I don't mind the cold showers in the morning because it kind of wakes you up. But
yeah,
Kimberly,
not for me though.
Kimberly,
Not
so
for me.
Also, now what else would we like to talk about? Maybe the solar system, or
Yeah.
anything else with the water system? I'm not sure. No. Yeah, I think the next one would be the water system was pretty easy to get used to. It's nice to drink water right out of a tap, actually, because it's spring fed and it's actually nice and cold, so you don't even have to put it in the fridge to cool down. So that's really nice.
Tastes different too.
Yeah, well, much cleaner. Now the next one would be the solar system, I would say.
Yes.
Being a lot more power conscious and things of that nature. What have you noticed?
So I mean, I have a couple family members who have a place that is off grid, and so they have always they've always run stuff off of a generator if they didn't have solar power. When we came here, that was something similar as well, where we have two generators here actually that the previous owners left for us, and we're able to use those if we don't have enough solar power. But keeping a constant charge on the solar panels or on our system is really important because you can't let it drain all the way down to zero, obviously. So the previous owners gave us a number. They said don't drop it below this number, make sure it stays above that at all times. So whether we're getting that energy from the sun, from the sunlight when the solar panels absorb that, or whether we're getting that energy from the generator running, which runs on gasoline or diesel, depending on which one we're running. And that will charge the batteries so that we can have power to the house. So far we've made sure, that we haven't dropped below that certain number, that we've remained well above that number, actually. But in terms of just being more power conscious, yeah, it's not your typical house. Like, you can't, we've discovered with bigger appliances, we have to turn the generator on to have them run or we will short the system. Andre knows a little bit more about that, being an electrician, but one of the things that I've noticed, you can't run the blender without running the generator or you're going to destroy the system. You'll override it.
Yeah, so as Kimberly mentioned, I am an electrician by trade, and I've installed solar systems before, but I've never actually managed one. So it was a little bit of a learning curve for myself. So we have a system that the solar panels generate 1,800 watts coming in. However, our inverter only puts out 480. So we can run our standard, laptop, TV, the lights around the house, things of that nature. But say we wanted to turn on the microwave and the blender, as Kimberly was mentioning, and those things run probably about 1,000 watts easy, and so the inverter is not capable of producing that 1,000 watts when it's only limited to 480. We could kind of get around that by increasing the solar system we have here to a bigger solar system, which requires more batteries. It'd be a 48 volt system as opposed to the 24 we have here, and then that would give us the 2,000 watts of power that we could use on that inverter. So yeah, another thing that I actually noticed with the solar system is that it's there's different stages of charging on the batteries, which I didn't know. So you have bulk charging and then float charge and things of that nature.
Absorb charging too.
And absorb charging too. So I'll do another video on the whole solar system. I'm not going to get too in depth on this. So yeah, we did notice on the cloudier days we're not really getting as much power from the solar panels that we want. So on the cloudy days we're generating anywhere between, 100 to 250 watts per hour. And then on the sunny days, like yesterday, we were bringing in about 12 to 1,300 watts, and so it really boosted the system. However, when I do want to make that smoothie in the morning, we gotta fire up the generator, which is nice. So we have one Kubota diesel generator that will send in directly 240 volts into the house if we need that extra power. And then we also have a gasoline Honda generator that'll just send you the standard 120, and that's kind of what I'm using right now because we really don't need the power from the diesel generator, because in all honesty we don't really use that much power in the house. Everything is LED. The most that is being used, I believe, right now is the refrigerator. We have no issues with that. We do have a deep freezer. However, we just put it outside now because it's -11 and
it's pretty good.
Yeah. Why waste it?
Why waste the power when
exactly.
you don't need to?
So.
And I think that's another thing that's really come home to me, especially. I was always that kid, you know, like turning off all the lights when we weren't in rooms, and make sure that you know, turn things off when they're not in use and unplug things when you're not using them, like simple things like the blender or the coffee maker or appliances that aren't necessarily used on a constant basis or a consistent basis. I was always like that as a kid, but now being here in an off-grid home, I'm definitely even more conscious of it than I used to be. Because my constant thought is, oh, how many watts are we using? How much power are we using? Or rather, how much power are we wasting that we don't need? And I think that's a really good mentality for a lot of people to have, you know, regardless of whether you're in an off-grid home or an on-grid home. Be aware of the power you're using and make sure that you're taking care of the environment around you. I think being in an off-grid home, it just kind of brings it more to your attention, because you're gonna have to do something actually yourself if nothing works. You got to go turn the generator on or something.
That's right.
Whereas in an on-grid home, you're aware of what you're using, but you're gonna use it because you have it through the city. So just little learning curves of a difference. We have all the same sort of amenities. It's just done differently because we use the things that we have around us here in our environment.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe you would like to touch on the wood burning heat, because
yes, that's another thing. Wood burning heat. So being a female, I tend to get colder in the morning when I first wake up. And so, you know, we usually, when we use the wood burning stove, which we use it on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, obviously many times a day, for heat. So we will start a fire in the morning, keep it going all day, off and on, you know, like we'll feed it and then we'll choke it out so that it's not producing quite as much heat. Right now it's about 22 degrees in here, which is comfortable. I'm sitting here in a tank, you know, and it's fine. When we go to bed, usually we will stock the fire with wood and make sure that we have enough wood for it to burn slowly throughout the night. So that when we wake up, whenever that may be, whether that's 6 hours later or 7 hours or 8 hours, we'll usually still have some coals that are left from the fire. So then we have to, one of the first things we'll do when we wake up in the morning is build that fire up again, because it's dropped overnight. It's sitting at 22 right now, and it'll stay at 22 as long as we keep that fire going. But overnight, because we're not feeding it, there's a solid 6 to 8 hours where you don't have wood going in. And so it's usually about 18 degrees. We haven't dropped below that, I don't think. No. But it's usually about 18 degrees here in the morning.
Perfect for sleeping.
Which is, yeah, perfect for sleeping. It's honestly not too bad. It is a little chilly, but it helps to wake me up in the morning. So I'm certainly not complaining. It's nice to wake up and have the refreshing, like, oh, it's a little bit colder. Like, you need to get up and get moving. And that's always one of our first chores. So when we have this place back to 22 in probably about an hour.
Which is enjoyable, actually, because you get the smoke started in the house, and you give that nice little scent in the house.
Wood burning smell.
Wood burning smell, yeah. I kind of missed that. Yeah, that's been something I had in my very first house that we did, is actually oil heat and wood burning. And oil was expensive.
Not fun.
Yeah, well, it's expensive, right? I had to pay, I think it was $700 every 2 or 3 months just to heat up the place. So we just used wood because it was just cheaper and easier. And yeah, it's a little bit of work, but actually things dry out a lot quicker, and it's a lot cheaper and keeps you fit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, other than
Which
that,
being fit is always something you want out
that's
on
right.
an off-grid home.
That's right. Actually, the appetite's been going up over here working so much. So it's good though. Yeah, I think
That's it.
that's about it for now. Yeah. If there's anything that you felt that we missed or that you would like us to elaborate on, maybe leave a comment down in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell so you can get notifications. We would like to teach anyone or help anyone that's interested in this lifestyle. So we will be doing videos on the regular. Kimberly will be doing her little videos once in a while. I'll be doing my other videos also on the side, and we'll be doing them together as well. So stay tuned. Any questions? Leave a comment. She'll probably answer the comments because she's one of those computer people.
I like to talk. Yes.
That's right. So, anyways, we'll be back on the next video, and stay tuned. So, thanks for coming out.